Okay, so I'm going to show you an alternative version of a fly that we can tie with the Bann monthly pack on these small dry flies. So we can actually tie a parachute fly with this. So we have the same hook, which is our standard sort of down eye hook. I'm going to use the same thread, so a black 6/0 thread. I'm going to take it down to the same level, and I'm going to use the same hackle for the tail. I'm going to pull a bunch off that. Offer it up here, hold it in position while I wrap back over the bare stem, and that will create our tail. So this is sort of like a parachute kind of Adams that I'm tying with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the white dubbing that we got with this, so this alpaca wool, and I'm going to line up the fibers by doing this, by pulling them into lines, so pulling them through my fingers, so I'm creating almost like a strand of wool. So once I have this bunch idea, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to here, which is a little bit back from the eye, maybe a fifth of the shank, and I'm going to pinch loop that in its middle. And then I'm going to wrap around the base of this to create a post. Now, it's quite awkward, it takes a little bit of practice, but once you get used to it, you'll create this sort of a idea here. I am then going to take some super glue, and for this I'm using a watery super glue. I'm just going to take my dubbing needle and I'm just going to set that tying in position. I don't want it up here in this material here, but I do want to set this post construct, this sort of T-junction that I've created. So I'm then going to take one of my hackles, so I'm going to use again one of these ginger type Cree hackles for this. I'm going to strip off some of the fibers from it here. Okay. I'm then going to cut that off. I'm going to tie it in here now. I'm tying it on the shank first, but I've left quite a bit of it stripped, so then what I'll do is I'll hold it upright with my post, and I'm going to go round it until I get to the top of my post and then come back down. So my hackle is now sticking up straight along my post, and that's waiting for when I've created the body. So I'll go back down to the back here, and then we will take our dubbing again. So we have the variety of different colours of dubbing. So we have this sort of beige type one. What I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to take a little bit of the brown one and mix it with it, but you tie whatever colour suits yourself. So I'm just going to take that and pull them together until I get this sort of mix, and that is what we're going to dub on for our body. So I'm just going to run some wax on my thread, take my dubbing that I've created. I'm going to use half of it to begin with just to see how I got. Do I need any more basically? I'll start it turning, and then I'm just going to stretch it out along my thread, and that'll create a much neater rope. Once I get a few fibers caught, I can tighten it up some more and then create the body. Just make sure you don't catch the post in it and get it involved. So we're going to come up here And so now our option is that we do the entire body with this, or that you create a slightly different effect for the front. So I'm going to use the darker brown dubbing just to create sort of a thorax for this. Another option is that if you have a pack that has some peacock herl in it, then you could use that and create a peacock herl thorax. Just whatever suits you. So I'm going to take a little bit of the brown. Again, very, very fine bits, less than you think you need. Put that on and create a couple of turns in front and a couple of turns behind, almost like a figure of 8 wrap. And that is our fly ready to be hackled. So for the hackling, then what you want to do is to either we do it as we are here, or the other option is that you do this. You turn your hook so that it's straight down in your vise. Take a turn over that post, and then that means that you can just wrap it as the post then becomes the same angle as your shank normally would be. And we can wrap that. So we're wrapping back towards the body of the fly. Once we're happy, what to do is we take our thread out, and we're trying to keep it under the hackle as such, but tying in the hackle. Then all I'm going to do is take the hackle back up and do that. This is the awkward bit, I suppose, now. So what we're going to do is we are going to trim this. That makes our post. Trim off our hackle, and then finish the fly. So I've created like a half hitch here that I'm going to slide then down onto the post. So the post then is what I'm tying off on. Okay, now you can use a whip finish tool for this. It's fiddly, and I would always put on several of these finishes. Once I'm happy with it, I'm just sort of going to rock it back and forward, rotate my fly back up into the vise, and then trim off my thread. And we need to set that in position. So we're going to use our dubbing needle, and we're going to use a little bit of either varnish or super glue to set that in position. So make sure your needle is good and clean. A good fine needle is useful for this as well. Get your chosen whatever, super glue or whatever, and just pull this back slightly, and just right at the base there, just add it to it and let it sit. And that will set our thread in position, our thread wraps, our tie-in, and the hackle. So that should not sit. So this is almost like a parachute Adams kind of an idea. So just an alternative fly pattern that we can tie with the small dry fly pack. So hopefully you liked the video. Check out the other videos on the channel. Check out check out bannbally.com if you want to order packs. Contact Sebastian, and good luck with your time.